This is Sahih al-Bukhari 5133. By the way, notice, let's go ahead and start at the chapter heading here. Chapter giving. Okay, well, I'll read it to you. The chapter heading in Sahih al-Bukhari 5133. The chapter heading is giving one's young children in marriage is permissible. So it's specifically referring this to young children. And then it explains why it's permissible. It says, by virtue of the statement of Allah, and for those who have no monthly courses, i.e. they are still immature, Surah 65, verse 4, and the iddah for the girl before puberty. Before puberty is 3 months in the above verse. And then we have 5133, which says, narrated Aisha that the Prophet wrote the marriage contract with her when she was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old, and then she remained with him for 9 years, i.e. till his death. Next one, 5134, narrated Aisha that the Prophet wrote the marriage contract with her when she was 6 years old, and consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old. Sahih al-Bukhari 5158, narrated Urwa, the Prophet wrote the marriage contract with Aisha while she was 6 years old and consummated his marriage with her while she was 9 years old, and she remained with him for 9 years, i.e. till his death. Bukhari 6130, narrated Aisha, I used to play with dolls in the presence of the Prophet, and my girlfriends also used to play with me. When Allah's messenger used to enter my dwelling place, they used to hide themselves, but the Prophet would call them to join and play with me. Notice why Aisha was allowed to continue playing with dolls in the presence of Muhammad when images are forbidden. We have the commentary here. The playing with dolls and similar images is forbidden, but it was allowed for Aisha at that time, as she was a little girl, not yet reached the age of puberty. You mentioned Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. Here's Sahih Muslim, number 3480. It was narrated that Aisha said, the Prophet married me when I was 6 years old and consummated the marriage with me when I was 9 years old. And so wherever we look, whether we go to Bukhari, whether we go to Sahih Muslim, whether we go to Sunan Abu Dawud, and by the way, if you want me to keep going, I can keep going. I can give you more. I can give you more from Sahih Muslim. I can give you more from Sunan Abu Dawud, Sunan An-Nasai, wherever you want to go. This is always what it says.
And David, can I read?
Just to be clear, what we never, ever find is a source saying Aisha was 13 years old. That's what modern Muslims say, because they know that there are people like you, alhamdulillah, who don't think that it's good to have sex with a 9-year-old girl. And so they tell you, no, she may have been 13 years old. We don't know. The sources aren't very clear. We're pointing out that they're lying to you because the sources are completely, totally, utterly clear over and over and over again. The only inconsistency is some sources will say that the marriage contract was written when she was 6, and some will say 7. But the sources across the board say that she was 9 when Muhammad consummated the marriage, had sex with her. And as I pointed out, we even have plenty of commentary showing that she hadn't reached puberty yet. What are your thoughts?
Listen, I'm going to read Ibn Kathir now in his The Life of the Prophet Muhammad, Al-Sira and Nabawiyya, Volume 2. I got the English translation by Trevor Lagassic, Volume 2. And this is what he says in pages 93, 94. Alhamdulillah, like I said, listen a little more so you can see these arguments that they've taught you are bad. Ibn Kathir, this is what he says. His statement, he contracted marriage with Aisha when she was 6. Thereafter, consummating marriage with her when she was 9 is not disputed by anyone. Let me repeat. Is not disputed by anyone and is well established in the Sahih collections of traditions and elsewhere. So Ibn Kathir says your Muslim scholars, they're liars and they're deceivers, because Ibn Kathir is saying at his time, this is 700 years after the death of your Prophet, no one disputes it. All the ulama, because it's based on the Sahih narration. She was 9 when your Prophet had sex with her and he was 54 years old.